Welcome to the ZimmCast, a program dedicated to bringing you what's new in agricultural marketing. The ZimmCast is the official podcast of AgWired and hosted by Chuck and Cindy Zimmerman.
Hello and welcome to the ZimmCast. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. While Cindy was home during the major snowstorm in Florida, I was attending the Clean Fuels Conference in San Diego, California. The weather was delightful for the conference. However, in the Pensacola, Florida area, there was 8 to 10 inches of snow, something that hasn't happened in, over 150 years. But it has all melted and we're mostly back to normal. So let's talk about clean fuels. We created a virtual ag newsroom once again for the conference that used to be named the National Biodiesel Conference. It was the first one we created many years ago. You can find that newsroom with photos, interviews, and session audio right there. In this episode, I'm going to share some of the interviews I did. So let's get started. First up, I interviewed Kent Engelbrecht. He's with ADM and serving as chairman of the Clean Fuels Alliance America. Following him is Kurt Kovarik. He's vice president of government affairs for Clean Fuels. And then Tom Verry, director of outreach and development. And to close things up, I interviewed Donnell Rehagen, CEO of Clean Fuels. So let's get started. At the Clean Fuels Conference, I'm visiting with Kent Engelbrecht. First of all, Kent, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, wow. I work for ADM. I've been with them for many years now, but I'm on the biodiesel trade desk. I do basically policy work now, federal, state, anything that has to do with the biofuel side of things.
So you're the chair for Clean Fuels Alliance. What do you think about the conference this year so far?
Wow, great attendance. Great. There seems to be some excitement here, although, there's lots of questions as to what the next year brings. So just like every year, but this year with the new administration, we've got opportunities and we've got challenges. Just same old stuff.
Well, you're also chair for the California Advanced Biofuels Alliance. You were singled out for an initiative award. Tell us a little bit about the organization, why they got that award.
California Advanced Biofuels Alliance has been, again, operating in California for many years. They've been having some great success policy-wise. In spite of some of the efforts in California, we continue to bring in more renewable fuels. 75% of all diesel pool in California is satisfied by biodiesel and renewable diesel. That's unheard of. California Advanced Biofuels Alliance is a small organization, works very well with Clean Fuels Alliance America. We use our resources wisely amongst those two organizations and help each other out. It's a big market here, and we're glad to be a big part of it.
Well, congrats on that award. And also, before we would close here, what's your outlook? We're into a new presidential year. There's going to be some changes. We know that. What's your outlook? What do you think?
Yeah, there will be some challenges. There will be some changes. I guess the good news is that we have built up a 5 billion gallon industry. It is something that we've demonstrated that we are a valuable part of the fuel supply, a valuable part of the story moving forward of America's energy dominance. We're there. We're a part of it, and so we need to be a part of it going forward, and we will be recognized as that. So we've got a great future ahead of us. Just figuring out our part to play is where we stand now.
I'm just excited that there's next year, and it'll be in my home state on the other side of the country in Orlando. So we'll look forward to that.
We will definitely see you there.
All right. Thank you very much, Kent, for visiting with me here at the Clean Fuels Conference. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. At the Clean Fuels Conference, I'm visiting with Kurt Kovarik. And first of all, tell us what you do for Clean Fuels.
Sure. I had Vice President of Federal Affairs, so I lead our Washington, D.C. advocacy and regulatory efforts on behalf of the organization.
Well, why don't we start out with talking about, or maybe a little dive into the details on the 45Z and also EPA's wanting to lower cellulosic RVO.
Sure. Well, on 45Z, this is the clean fuel production credit that Congress enacted in August of 2022 as part of the Inflation Reduction Act, replaces the long-time tax incentive known as 40A, the blender's tax credit. Unfortunately, it took until January of this year to get guidance from Treasury and the modeling update from Department of Energy. So we're working through right now as an organization and as an industry to understand how it's going to work, how to claim the credit, what the credit values are. This is the first time we've seen a tax policy for fuels based on the carbon intensity on a sliding scale based on how much or how little carbon is emitted by the fuel. So, with everything that it's a new transition, it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy road here for folks until they figure it out. The market understands it. Hopefully what we got from the Biden administration in the last days of their term is good enough to provide the certainty necessary, because, it's unlikely to see any new activity in the near term from a Trump administration Treasury Department. Not because this isn't an area that they're concerned about. It's just they have a lot of other priorities on the plate that I think are ahead of it in line. So we're going to work through it. With respect to the cellulosic waiver that EPA is considering, our view is it's premature. They're suggesting that volumes for 2024 need to be waived before we have a full understanding of the actual fuel that was used, which we think is a bad precedent to be set. Combine that with other contemplation of small refiner exemptions that would provide relief in that same area. So our view is EPA doesn't have a full understanding of all the factors, and our suggestion is they pause consideration of waiving those volumes until they have that information.
So with the work that you do and your staff and other organizations you work with, what do you see here outlook-wise as things move along in a new administration to get to sit down, talk to them, and hopefully finalize things like the 45Z, for example?
Yeah, well, the first step is getting yourself familiar with the personnel that are coming in and making sure they understand our industry, our members, what it is we provide in terms of renewable fuel, benefit to the ag economy, to farmers, job creation, and domestic energy here at home. And one of the things, one of the pillars that we've heard from the president during the campaign and since, and in the executive orders this week, is about domestic energy dominance. And biofuels was mentioned in the executive order, pointing to that. So while Baby Drill gets the headlines, I think they recognize that biofuels are important. So, the first thing we're going to do is be reaching out to, through members of Congress, through these nomination hearings, to make sure that our priorities are raised so that they're aware that there's interest in Congress. And then for us as an organization, we get our members in and, meet with the Secretary of Agriculture, the new EPA administrator, and tell them that, they hold the success or failure of our industry in their hands when it comes to implementation of the renewable fuel standard and other things. And what's at stake? President Trump still touts the fact that he loves farmers, farmers love him. So the extent to which we're able to convey to his personnel that these programs and policies are critically important to the success of the American farmer, that's where we start.
Is there anything else that you're going to be focusing on here as we go into this new year?
Sure. We're sure to have a comprehensive tax bill enacted by Congress in 2025 with a lot of expiring tax policy. So modification, extension, amending of any of these clean energy tax incentives are going to be a huge priority for us.
Well, thank you very much, Kurt, for visiting with me here at the Clean Fuels Conference. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. At the Clean Fuels Conference, I'm visiting with Tom Verry. And first of all, Tom, what do you do for the organization?
I'm Director of Outreach and Development, so I get the pleasure to our major stakeholders are the soybean farmers, soybean industry, and I spend a lot of time with those stakeholders, and we work together and develop this market. Been doing it for over 22 years.
So let's talk about the organization's foundation, because that's something you're working on here. And tell us how the foundation's doing, what it's doing it for, and how does it look here at the conference this year?
Looking fantastic, Chuck. We do have a Clean Fuels Foundation, and why we do that is that we can actually educate key stakeholders such as congressional staff, and that like Clean Fuels wouldn't be able to do that since we do lobbying. So the foundation, we're a 501c3, so we're prohibited from doing that. So we do a lot of effort, put a lot of effort into educating our the regulatory people and federal staff, congressional staff on our industry. We have a great partnership with folks like the Iowa Renewable Fuel Association, and so they have a tour every summer where they're looking at going on farms and biodiesel plants, and then we do 3 tours around the country, West Coast, East Coast, in the middle, where we also show them where the fuel is made, distributed, and used. So we were just out here in California in September. We took them to Metrolink, where they're using 100% renewable diesel. So and we took them to Titan Terminals, where we're bringing in biodiesel from the Midwest, and they're selling it within 20 miles of downtown LA.
So besides that kind of activity, how about when we talk about the students that have gotten involved in the science of all this?
Yeah, that's a very important role the foundation plays. We work with universities, colleges to identify interested students interested in our industry, and we offer scholarships for them to bring into events such as our conference here, or our what has been getting a lot of notice is our sustainability workshop that we host every spring. And so there's a lot of students that are majoring in that, which is great for the future, and we bring them in and they get to kind of see kind of quote-unquote real-world application of these sustainability efforts. We get a great for that sustainability workshop. We get great public-private interest. A lot of corporations now attend, and they get to learn to see how our industry has helped in their industry to decarbonize to meet their sustainability goals.
Well, I hope you have a very successful auction here at the conference, and as we're doing this, we're right at about the closing for it, in fact. So we're getting near the end of the Clean Fuels Conference. I'm Chuck Zimmerman reporting. At the Clean Fuels Conference, I'm visiting with Donnell Rehagen. And first of all, I'd like to get a little bit of a summary of what you think about the conference this year.
Well, it's always great, Chuck, to get our industry together, especially early in the year like this. This conference has turned into not just an educational event, but a business event. So we see a lot of conversations happening in the hallways and outside, and we're just proud to be able to bring the whole entire industry together this time of the year and talk about what's working well, what's not working well, and get everybody on the same page going forward.
Tell us a little bit about how the attendance has been, and how do you think people feel about the industry right now?
Yeah, our attendance is strong. I mean, this event, we rebranded it a few years ago to the Clean Fuels Conference, and so I think that sort of opened some eyes to other opportunities to talk about other fuels maybe than just biodiesel, and so our attendance has been up over the last several years, strong this year again as well, and it just gives that opportunity for them to come together and talk about. There's a lot of issues right now that are challenging our industry, and I think it helps people to talk to other people who are dealing with those same issues. And that's the other advantage of offering an event like this. And I know that's happening this year, and it's going to pay dividends as we go forward in keeping everybody together.
What do you think are some of the outstanding parts of this year's conference?
Oh, outstanding parts. We brought the rail industry in, who's been coming on really strong, really over the last 12 months. We just, this last year in 2024, saw all 6 Class 1 railroads become members of Clean Fuels Alliance America. And as users of our fuels, that's a little bit unique in our membership. And so to be able to put that kind of in front of everybody and remind them this is a brand new emerging market that 3 years ago was using 0 of our fuels, and it's a 4 billion gallon diesel industry right there in the rail. So great opportunities, and we're excited about that emerging market as well as the marine market, which is just beginning. You couple that with the bioheat market, the on-road market, demand for our fuels are continuing to grow, and we're excited about that.
There's obviously been discussion in this of a new administration, and that being something that's just getting underway. As we leave this, what are the priorities?
Well, the first priority is going to be to get the new administration to pick up where the last one left off on 45Z, which is our new tax credit system. And there's a little bit of uncertainty with what the Biden administration left us with. Some good progress, but just not enough clarity. And so we need to get that clarity out of the Trump administration. We need to finalize that rule so our fuel producers, our feedstock producers can know exactly what the values are. So that's number one. Number two is the RVOs again. Sounds like a broken record, but this 2025 is the last year of the 3 years that EPA set. And so we need to get this Trump administration again to prioritize that, get that rule out sooner rather than later so we can know what 2026 is going to look like and be ready to rock and roll.
We've got a great team here to work on those kinds of things.
We do. It's one of the things that makes me proud as the CEO. We've put together a great team. They're very dedicated, but what I like almost more than that is their passion. They're all in on renewable fuels and the fuels that our producers produce and our feedstock growers grow feedstocks for, and that can go a long way in delivering on what the things are that we need to solve and settle for the industry. And it's great to have a conference like this where we can put them on stage and display their talents.
Well, I can tell you the way weather was this week, it was really nice to be back in San Diego, where we've been a couple of times in the years I've been here. And next year's looking pretty good to me, too.
Well, I'll bet so, yeah. We're going to flip to the other side of the country. We're going to be back in Florida next year. And so we're going to be in Orlando. We've been in Orlando before. It's been a number of years. But Florida and California, obviously, two of the hot spots for our conference. And we'll expect a record crowd next year as well.
Before we close, anything else you might want to say just about whether it's the conference or how Clean Fuels is doing as an organization?
I think Clean Fuels, we look at our job as a trade association. Again, we don't sell fuels, we don't make deals, right? But our job is to create growing demand for the finished fuels. Our belief is as the demand for the fuels grows, the demand for the feedstocks will grow as well. And so, therefore, by creating new markets, growing markets, we're serving two constituencies, our feedstock growers and processors, but also our fuel producers. And so we're proud of the fact that we see these new and emerging markets. But our job is also to bring collaboration to the table. There's a lot of impacted organizations and entities, industries, agriculture specifically, that benefits from growth in our industry. And so collaborating with all the folks in agriculture, the louder the voice and the more unified we can be, the likelihood of success is greater, in Washington, D.C.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Donnell, for letting me visit with you here as we're closing out the Clean Fuels Conference of 2025. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. In addition to the virtual Ag Newsroom on Ag Newswire, we also posted content onto the Clean Fuels Conference blog, which you can find if you just go to that newsroom. It's got a link there to the blog. Now that I've been catching up, I'm getting ready for the CattleCon 2025, working with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. At the same time, Cindy will be at the Crop Insurance and Reinsurance Bureau annual meeting. It's just that busy time of the year. So that's the ZimmCast for now. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.
You've been listening to the ZimmCast, the official podcast of AgWired. Check us out at www.agwired.com to find out what's new in agricultural marketing.